Joe Hopkins here, and I'm here for a rather controversial topic. And you wouldn't think it's controversial, but it kind of is. People get worked up about this sort of thing. Guitar necks. Which ones are best? C shape, D shape, this shape, wider, thinner, thicker, bigger, better, badder, whatever it is, right? I'll be honest with you, I've never bothered to learn the differences between a C or D or anything like that shaped neck, and mostly the reason why is I've just found that it doesn't really make that much difference to me. I guess it does. I mean, different guitars feel different for different things, but I'll go over a couple things and you know, clarify some stuff about that. Usually I look at guitar, the neck width. Now I do know like a thinner, broader neck, what's that, like a D, I guess it's called anyway, tends to be better for shredding. Like this one has kind of like a thinner neck so that you can make reaches better. And it does make a difference. It's not that big a difference between one neck to the other, but little differences make a difference, right? This one has just, I don't know, the neck feels right for doing stuff, you know, a little bit faster. And most guitars, you know, they got a lot of them are pretty similar. You really got to play around with them to find out what works well for you. Like I said, that's just seems to work well for lead. But I also got this guitar, and this has really, you can feel it. It does have a very thicker neck, right? It's just wider this way, right? Broader, deeper, whatever it is, bigger around. And there's a little more spacing between the strings than there is on that other one, right? So it seems to make a difference. For some reason, like when the strings are spaced out a little bit more, it just makes it easier to get more clarity in your tone, to not accidentally touch other strings. And, you know, it works for other things. I have one here with a very, very broad neck, just wide. It's wide. That's this one. And it's got an unusually wide neck. This was a kit guitar. And, yeah, it's just got this wide neck that makes it easier. It's nowhere near in tune. Makes it easier to make chords. And that's what I've found because I've owned guitars with extremely thin necks and extremely wide necks. I owned a Maserite with a very thin neck. It had a very thin neck and you could make really long reaches because the strings were closer together. You could really kind of get your hand around it more. You could reach your thumb over the top easier, stuff like that. But man, whenever you went to do chords or anything like that, you really had to be careful because on thinner necks, there isn't as much room between the strings. You can really easily hit the wrong string. You have to be careful with it. Whereas with wider necks, like on a classical guitar, which at the same time I had the Maserite, I had a classical guitar that I played a lot on. And I found it was a lot easier to not make mistakes. It's a lot more forgiving on a wider neck. There's more room between the strings. And more forgiving, yeah, but it can be a little bit harder to make those reaches. And it can be a little bit, you know, it slows you down until you get used to it. You know what I mean? Thinner neck, you can go faster, it seems like, but it's less forgiving. And as far as the neck profiles go, a neck that's thicker, not wider, but thicker, it can also do the same thing. You can't get your hand around it as well, but it seems like you have more to grip. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard to even explain sometimes why one is better than the other. It's all personal preference. After having played a lot of guitars, I've found that there are certain things that I really need a guitar with a thicker neck, and some things I really need a guitar with a thinner neck. I find thicker necks I love using for rhythm, and thinner necks I love using for lead, right? And as far as wider, how wide the neck is across, like distance between the strings, same kind of thing. If I'm doing something where I need a lot of forgiveness on it, you know, I want a wider neck. And it can be just, I could thin it down if I'm doing something where I really need to be able to make certain reaches, or if I really need to be able to play a little bit faster, or to be able to do certain things that I can't do with a wider neck. But then you really got to practice it a little bit more, because it is less forgiving. So try out different necks, try out different guitars. Go to a music store and try out different guitars, even before you buy one, even if you're going to order one online, and get an idea of what neck profile you like. Do you like it thinner? Do you like it thicker? Do you like, real wide neck? And frets. Necks have different numbers of frets, anywhere up to like 24, sometimes even like 26 frets on some of them. And that's great for some things. And then some people find it really doesn't matter to them. You got to fiddle around with it to really find out, am I even going to use those extra frets? And I mention that because what kind of neck you want on your guitar changes what kind of guitar you're going to buy, right? At first, people always think about the pickups and how the guitar looks, right? And then you start noticing things like how many frets are there can matter, and the neck profile can matter. Your first guitar is probably just going to be your first guitar, whatever you get. Mine was that Maserite, and I just got used to a thin neck. And then I got a classical guitar, and I got used to a thick neck. And maybe that's why I'm less picky about that kind of thing. But yeah, different neck profiles can matter, and I've found that over the years, that different guitars I use for different things, and some of it has to do with that. You know what I mean? So anyway, I don't know how informative this was. This might have not been informative at all. Or maybe you found some use out of this little video I'm doing here. Either way, thank you for watching. And in a sec here, there's an end screen. There's going to be some playlists. You can check out my reviews playlist, where I review instruments, and you can check out my songs playlist, where I play songs. It's aptly titled Songs. And subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video. I love you guys. Peace out, baby. Bye-bye.